Oh, I already messed up because I have my share screen on. Let's just remove that for a moment. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again here on BSing Sports on part of the BSing Network. I'm Bill. With me, as always, is my co-host Ryan. As you can see, we've got the same setup from last week. Hopefully, it sounds better than last week. We're still working on technical difficulties.
Yeah, let us know if we're echoing or if we sound bad or anything. Please, the sooner we can get it fixed, the better we'll sound.
We are working on it. We've visited several stores in an attempt to try and figure out some software stuff, and I'm working with something offline that I'm not very good with, but more time might help us. But anyway, as you saw, we're going right into the Immaculate Grid again today, so thank you for those of you at Immaculate Grid. There are two today. There's one for baseball and one for football.
They did populate a football one about 2 days ago, so they're still very early in it. And through day 1.5 of the football grids, I have realized that my mind is not anywhere close to football. I'm sure that there are some obvious answers for these players and these teams out here.
And while Ryan goes take care of his dog real quick, who is apparently trying to vomit on my floor. Oh no, he successfully vomited on my floor. It happens. I'll continue to talk about the Immaculate Grid. As Ryan was saying, is we've figured out that our brains are not in football mode right now, so they've been pretty difficult for us. But hopefully, today live with you guys, we'll have an opportunity to get it squared away and fixed, and we'll see how it goes, right? So I'm going to pull the Immaculate Grid up right now, so those of you watching can see what I'm looking at. And we will go from there. So I'm going to add this to the stream, and here we are. We've decided to go with the football grid first because we want to talk some baseball because it is baseball season after we're done the baseball grid. So for those of you who cannot see, the teams across the left side of the grid are the Cincinnati Bengals at the top, the Pittsburgh Steelers in the middle, and the New Orleans Saints at the bottom. Across the top are Las Vegas Raiders, Dallas Cowboys, and then 1,000-yard rushers. It's just like a baseball grid. You're looking for a 1,000-yard rusher for the Bengals, Steelers, and Saints. And then you're looking for a player who played for both the Raiders and Bengals, Raiders, Steelers, Raiders, Saints, et cetera, Cowboys, Bengals, Steelers. So once Ryan gets back, he's been on my floor, which I appreciate. We will get back into this. But for the meantime, anybody in the comments there want to have a nice quick conversation?
Hey, how you guys doing?
You're not gonna dig my yard, right? Okay, cool. So all right, now Ryan's back. We can get into the Immaculate Grid.
So a little bit of a delay there. However, you explained the Immaculate Grid immaculately, Bill.
Thank you.
So first guess, try and do it in order, actually, just to make it a little fun, a little more organized. To say Bengals, Las Vegas Raiders. Bill and I talked about it 5 minutes off air. We're going with Vontez Perfect. Bill doesn't know how to spell Vontez. That's fine.
Let's see if we're correct. We are 37%.
We're off to a good start. Let's get the ball rolling here in the right direction.
So the second spot, we've got the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. Philadelphia Eagles fans will remember this particular receiver.
Terrell Owens. Does John Kitna fit here? I think Kitna might be a little bit more rare.
Do we want to try and maybe miss? Okay, we're going to go John Kitna. All right, well, Terrell Owens.
I'm 100% sure he played in both organizations.
John Kitna and 10% for John Kitna in the Cowboys and Bengals.
Curious, anybody else out there doing it? Put Terrell Owens in that spot and tell us what the percentage was.
Yes, greatly appreciated. We have a private chat situation going on. Oh, no, that was the old one. Never mind. No comments yet.
1,000-yard rushing season. We're going to say Corey Dillon.
We did talk about Corey Dillon. We are not 100% sure, so this very easily could be an incorrect.
Joe Mixon's a little obvious. I don't think Gio Bernard ever ran for 1,000 yards. So
Corey Dillon and click. It is correct. 25% of people got Corey Dillon correct.
And I'm not well dressed on Bengals running backs. So
yeah, I mean it's still impressive to go back to Corey Dillon. Were you talking early 2000s, right? So now I think Ken Brandt's going to get us on this one here. So Las Vegas Raiders and Pittsburgh Steelers that shared.
Antonio Brown didn't actually play for the Raiders, did he?
I don't think he played a single game for the Raiders, no. Now, if we're looking at receivers from that time, Emmanuel Sanders?
I don't remember him playing for the Raiders ever.
Yeah, see, this is where we're going to struggle.
Let's get the 1,000-yard rushers out of the way because we have answers to that.
Okay.
We settled on Willie Parker for 1,000 yards. We figured out of Jerome Bettis, Franco Harris, Najee Harris. There's quite a few answers here, but I feel like Willie Parker would probably give us the rarest answers.
Which Willie Parker am I going with?
I don't think it was the one. You don't remember Willie Parker? He played in our lifetime.
Did he? 2004 to 2009?
Yeah.
Okay. 8%. That's a good rarity score right there.
Yeah, Willie Parker was pre. Oh God, who took over after him? I guess Bettis was there while Willie Parker was there for a little bit of time. He was there with Heinz Ward a little bit.
Okay.
And then the Saints, did we settle on Deuce McAllister?
I think we did settle on Deuce McAllister for.
There's the obvious choice because he's still playing. Mark Ingram might have hit 1,000. I'm not 100% about it.
Can't spell McAllister.
MC
Yes,
Allister.
yeah, I got it. There it is. Well, I spelled Deuce correctly, and it didn't give me that, so that was unimpressive. 30% on Deuce McAllister.
Hey, we're less than 50 on all these picks right now, so I call that a win.
We're actually less than 40 on all these picks. The highest one so far, Vontae's perfect at 37%.
Cowboys and Steelers are two of the most storied.
Hold on, we got a comment in here. Owens went at 17%,
Okay,
so we did better with John Kidna.
I
Cowboys
figured
Bengals.
John Kitna, not a Hall of Fame player, so.
I
But
like-
I'm surprised that 17% of people remember Terrell Owens in a Bengals uniform.
It only happened for like half a season. I feel like he got injured and didn't play. All right, who else did we have? We talked about we can't use Derek Carr for Saints and Raiders.
That is
because he
one of
hasn't
the
played a
that
game.
is one of the rules. They have to have played a game for the team. So Derek Carr is not eligible for the Raiders Saints spots yet.
Okay, so Cowboys Saints, Cowboys Steelers, Raiders Steelers, Raiders Saints. That's where we're struggling.
So for some reason, we know a lot about the Cincinnati Bengals and 1,000-yard rushers.
All right, let's think about Raiders and Saints. Who has done this before? So we got to think receivers at this point, right? Not defense typically.
New Orleans Saints. Marcus Colston didn't play anywhere else. Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn played for the Raiders?
Ted Ginn played for a lot of teams. Ted Ginn it is.
Ted Ginn played for the Raiders. I think.
This is getting a little. You guys are being a little bit. No, Ted Ginn was incorrect.
Cool. So now we don't have the stress of an immaculate grid.
Perfect. I just don't know that much about the Raiders, so I'm really going to struggle here.
Let's flip back to baseball real quick. Let's see if jumping away can.
All right. So for the baseball immaculate grid, across the top, Atlanta Braves, Detroit Tigers, and MVP. Across the left, the Los Angeles Angels, Texas Rangers, and Rookie of the Year awards. I already came up with this one before the show started. Ryan and I talked about it. We talked about Andrelton Simmons for the Angels and Braves. And his rarity is 17%. So
Which
he's
is
still
funny
relatively
because
new.
the player we're going to pick next also applies to this square. Justin Upton.
That is correct, yes. So Justin Upton.
Now, for those of you in the crowd, probably Ken Brandt, go ahead and put Justin Upton in the Angels and Braves spot and let us know how he did.
Appreciate you, bud. So Justin Upton, Tigers, Angels. Click 20%. MVP for the Angels. We obviously have two very obvious ones. We're
Mike
looking to
Trout
go backward a little bit.
I don't think Salmon won an MVP.
Neither do I. And we discussed, and we're not 100% sure, but we think Flagler or Senior might have won one. As an Angel. I don't know. That seems really obscure. I don't know if he
I don't think it seems obscure. He's a Hall of Famer.
Vlad Guerrero.
Senior.
And yes, he was in fact an MVP for the. Well, he probably won MVP as an Expo, but he played for the Angels. Is probably how that happened.
No, I'm pretty sure he won it with the Angels. But since we have his name up, we can look it up now.
And we've already knocked out the Angels, so we're good. Fire away. While we're waiting, we have another couple of obvious Braves here for Rookie of the Year. I think we're going to take one of them. We have obviously Chris Harris Jr. last year who won it.
Michael Harris Jr.
I'm sorry, Michael Harris Jr. who won it last year, and Ronald Acuna Jr. who won it 3 years ago.
In his very first year as an Anaheim Angel, the last year in Anaheim, Vlad Guerrero was an MVP.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, so who did you want to go with? You wanted to go Mike Harris over Ronald Acuna, right?
Let's do Acuna. I feel like Harris being more recent, kind of.
58%. Ken, can you go in and do Mike Harris Jr. for us, please? Appreciate you. Well, actually, you know what? We don't really need them to do that.
And then
We're
Detroit
being silly.
Rookie of the Year. I'm going to pull one out of a hat. I randomly looked at this player earlier just to see if he would fit any of the criteria today. Michael Fulmer. As soon as Bill is done.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure that out. Michael. I don't like how nitpicky you guys are on spelling.
Are you looking up NL Rookie of the Year?
Michael Harris is second.
Yeah, it was Strider that won it.
Yeah, he was 23%. Michael Harris second. 23%. Sorry, what was the box you were talking about? That's my
Right
fault.
there, Michael Fulmer.
Michael Fulmer. 21%.
Wow. Detroit must not. Now that we know, I know Alkaline was a lifelong Lion, or not Lion, Tiger, so he doesn't actually apply to any of the other squares.
We do still have a Tigers square up there, though.
He was third in Rookie of the Year voting.
Okay, well, there you
He's
go.
actually never won an MVP either.
So we have the conundrum here of Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. Now, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but I thought Vlad Jr. won both.
I don't think they have to be in the same season. I don't, because I don't even know how many times it's happened, if it's ever happened.
Okay, well, then that's my fault for thinking that's where
I'm assuming no, just because I'm curious after we make a guess on that square for how many players have actually done that. There's nobody that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe Trout.
Find out. 6% with Mike Trout. That's a good pick. It amazes me. That he's only got 6%.
So now that tells me that it's Rookie of the Year and MVP separately.
Yes, because we know he didn't win them together. All right, so we got the Texas Rangers. We discussed this before the show, obviously. We talked about hold on now. I can only barely see comments here, Frankie. I'm sorry that you're joining in here. Castellanos for Detroit.
Ichiro did not play for Detroit. I know he played for New York and Seattle.
Correct. Yeah, Ichiro also played.
Michael Young didn't play for any of those teams, although he was a former Philly.
He was a former Philly. Yeah. Sorry. I'm much better at checking comments here for the group, except I'm running Immaculate Grids, so it's tough for me to be bouncing back and forth. But anyway, we were talking MVP for the Rangers, and you and I discussed Josh Hamilton, right?
Josh Hamilton, who, if the grid was set up differently, would have fit for Angels and Rangers as well.
That would have, yes. 43% on. Oh man, that's a big number. 58% on Ronald Acuna. 43% on.
Yeah, so we're not looking at a great rarity score unless we can go ahead and pull some out here today. Texas and Detroit.
All right, so Texas and Detroit. This is where I really struggle because there's so many baseball teams, right? There's so many baseball players. There's so many football teams, so many football players. It's tough to remember where everybody plays.
And you're shooting for rarity at the same time, so your mind skims over the most obvious of players sometimes.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm like.
I think Jose Valverde might have pitched for Texas and Detroit. I know, but I remember him more with Detroit and Arizona. Also, that'd be the wrong square anyway. Do you really think Alvarez did?
I really do. Some's pulling at me. Kind of want to take a shot.
You're running the grid.
I was incorrect. That is my fault.
No, not Valverde for Texas and
Jose Valverde for Texas.
For the other. I know he 100% played for Detroit.
Did not.
Okay, so we were terrible at baseball today. What was the average? Let's review the summary.
Summary.
Okay, so it's not above average, where it was 6.9.
Sorry, yes. So we got 7 out of 9, which is better than the average.
We're slightly above average. Yeah, 30 players. There's no way 30 players won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. So
Yeah, the fact that there's only 4 MVPs total for the Angels, only 5 total.
Trout,
for the
Ohtani,
Rangers.
Vlad Jr. or Vlad Sr. And then who's the fourth?
Jared Weaver won it the one year, right?
No, he didn't win MVP.
No.
Troy Gloss, maybe?
We'd have to Google that. I don't know about that.
Just click on it, it'll tell you. Mike Trout was picked over Shohei Ohtani for MVP. I don't know if you just saw that.
I did see that, yes. It doesn't show you the way you want to see it. Angel, so Shohei, Mike Trout.
Who?
I'm still scrolling. I'm in 1976 at this point.
Oh, I'm going to swing around.
Yeah, MVPs.
Mm-hmm. Go back to the Immaculate Grid. Click that.
Mm-hmm. That's what it brought up. Mm-hmm. So you got Trout. You got Trout. You got Shohei, and then lots and lots of scrolling for. So Vlad, yeah, Anaheim for Vlad, yeah. Part of that's my fault. I stopped looking for LAA.
I don't think Gloss will.
You guys are witnessing our only second Immaculate Grid show, so there's obviously gonna be some, chinks in the armor here. We'll get it squared up next time. We're figuring it out while we're going.
Let's keep the fans engaged. It wasn't Salmon, I don't think.
Bobby Shantz? No, never mind. Scratch that. That was Philly Athletics. Alrighty, so let's flip back to the football grid that we weren't doing good at.
Don Baylor in 1979.
Don Baylor.
All right, so Pittsburgh Steelers and Las Vegas Raiders.
All right. Stallworth, Dante Stallworth.
He played for the Saints
and Raiders, right?
He might have.
You want to take a shot?
Sure.
All right.
We're not immaculate here anyway. We only have 3 guesses.
I'll get rid of you. Dante Stall.
I think he was an O.
Stall.
No, like in the first name.
Oh, Dante. Gotcha. Not Dante. There he is. He was apparently never a Raider.
Yeah, I do remember him definitely being a Saint.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are struggling today.
It's not a good day for Immaculate Grid here on BSing Sports. Elvis Andrews, Julio Franco.
Elvis Andrews played for Texas, but
did he play for Detroit?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so that doesn't help us. How about Julio Franco?
Franco was definitely in Texas.
Was he a Detroit?
I think he was a Brave.
Well, there you go. That could have filled that square up. Now, we appreciate you guys for being here. Frankie, as always, we appreciate the crap out of you joining in. Ken, obviously, we appreciate you joining in. We appreciate the support. Thank you. As we've discussed, we're working through some chinks in the armor here. We'll get better.
Yeah, and like I said, we're shooting for rarity. So Julio Franco, is one of the best, one of the better baseball players in my lifetime, and obviously it's spaced out on me because my mind is elsewhere, I guess.
So I'm thinking wide receivers, and I know a guy 100% played for the Raiders that I think might have played for the Saints. Darius Hayward-Bay.
No, he played for the Steelers, I think, though.
And I'm 100% he played for the Raiders.
I know he played for the Raiders. He might have played for the Steelers.
Darius.
I would just start searching by last names at this point.
Hayward Bay. There you go, 19%. There's one. There we go.
Let's see if we can get 7 out of 9s on both. All right, so
I think we got a better shot at the Cowboys Steelers than we do Cowboys Saints or Raiders Saints, if I'm just being honest.
Cowboys Saints.
Cole Beasley never played for the Steelers, never played for the Saints.
But he will play for the Giants.
Yes. So for those of you who haven't heard, Cole Beasley signed with the Giants today to help, I guess, Daniel Jones. They also signed James Robinson.
They're running like 1,000 slot receivers up in New York. So,
well, they don't really have a great offensive line. They doesn't have a lot of time to drop back and throw the ball. So
Dallas, Pittsburgh. What are you looking up over there?
I was searching if Elvis Andrews played for the Tiger.
I don't think he did. I know he played for the Athletics.
Bothering me, I want to know.
Cowboys, Steelers.
Yes, Cowboys, Steelers. He did not play for the Tigers. Just so we're on the same page.
Terry Glenn didn't play for the Saints or the Steelers.
No. All right, so let's think of backup quarterbacks real quick. Who's the backup quarterback behind Tony Romo before Dak?
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe played for the not the Steelers, the Patriots. I don't know if he went anywhere else. Boomer didn't go to Dallas when he was done in Cincinnati, did he?
No.
Man, we were
I mean,
grid on BSing Sports.
like I said, I'm just not locked into football.
Yeah, that season really starts for us in about 3 weeks. So
yeah, I'm just not all the way there yet. New Orleans Saints. Did Aaron Brooks play for the Raiders?
I know what Brooks did. I don't know if it was Aaron Brooks. We got
one guess left.
Yeah, I have no other thoughts on this. So he only played for 6 seasons. Let's see if he was there. He was. Good job, Aaron Brooks. 345. The average score today was 5.5.
See, these football grids are tough, man, because people are not locked into football. So we are way above average here. Let's scroll down, see what possible answers are. Yeah, see, I knew that. I'm surprised that it's even at 37 for Steelers Cowboys, because being two of the most storied franchises, like
you would just assume there's more. You would just assume.
No, I would just assume that those dudes, like when you think about the guys from those franchises, they only played for those teams.
That's a good point.
I'm curious as to what the 1,000-yard rushers were for the Saints. Well, let's scroll down and see who was the most popular pick in each square. Andy Dalton, I forgot he was a Cowboy.
Yeah, we let that one slip, didn't we?
See, Mark Ingram was the most popular pick.
Well, good. And then Le'Veon Bell was obviously most popular. Joe Mixon, most popular 1,000-yard rushers.
I forgot Latavius Murray was a Raider. Martavius Bryant was actually who I think I was thinking of instead of Darius Hayward-Bay, and it just worked out.
Remember me asking you before the show started, DeMarco Murray?
Yeah.
And it was Latavius Murray. That's what it was. I was wrong on the wrong guy.
See what percentage people got of each square. So the 1,000-yard rushers is kind of easy, but I mean, at least the two most oft missed squares are the same squares we missed.
That's true. Usually we strive to be better than them, but we'll make it up.
7 and average 5.5. So
that's correct. All right. So
here on BSing Sports, we are better than the average people.
Let's see. How did I do this before? That's how I did that before. I like that. I like that better. All right. Let's get rid of the Immaculate Grid. That goes away now.
Thank you for Immaculate Grid. Tune in next Saturday. We will be doing it again. Same time, same place. You can watch us struggle all the live long day.
Man, I don't like that. Yes. I don't like how poorly we did. It's unfortunate. We were much better last week. We'll come back next week.
We only got 7 last week.
No, we got 8 last week.
We didn't get 9. That's all.
Definitely didn't get 9.
All I know about that.
Definitely didn't get 9.
Yeah, so in other news, obviously there's some big baseball headlines to talk about. We have to talk about the new leader in the AL East for the first time all season, pretty much.
Which is funny because they're actually 2 games behind the Rays in the win column.
And 2 games behind in the loss column.
That is correct.
We have to talk about how Bryce Harper's first base debut got off to a flying start. And then we have to talk about Where will Shohei Ohtani end up?
Yeah, those are the three biggest things. So I'm actually not sure if I'm allowed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway and bring up the standings for the AL real quick. I fully expect YouTube to shut us down pretty quick.
YouTube, schmutube.
All right, so let's bring it up real quick. I'm sorry, I have to fix.
Sorry if you're watching on YouTube. If you are not watching on YouTube, then good for you. If you're watching on YouTube and they shut us down, we're on Facebook and Twitter as well.
There we go. So Baltimore at 59-38 is now even with Tampa, who is 61-40. But their win percentage for Baltimore is better at .608, which gives them the nod here. They're also 7-3 in their last 10. Now they play. Actually, they're playing right now against Tampa in Tampa. Baltimore and Tampa are playing.
And the big thing, and we talked about this before the show, that jumps out off the page to me is their record versus teams that are 500 or better is 37-29. Baltimore has the most wins in the MLB against teams with 500 or better records. So they're not just beating up on bad teams; they're beating good teams. And if you look at their breakdown, they're 10 games above 500 at home and almost similar on the road. They're actually 11 games above 500. So they're winning at home, on the road. They're beating teams. They're beating bad teams. They're just playing great baseball right now. And it looks like the rebuild's starting to pay off. We'll circle back to Baltimore a little bit later. But Tampa's sliding right now. I mean, since the All-Star break, or since July, it's not been a good baseball team.
Yeah, you're talking they're 4-6 in their last 10. They're still 36-16 at home, but they're 25-24 on the road. This is a team that was the hottest team in baseball for the first half of the season.
Long time.
Yes. They also are 34-28 against teams above 500. Like I said, they're playing each other right now, the Orioles and the Rays. For the first time this season, or at least since the first week of baseball, there is a team that has a Nope, I lied. Scratch that. I was going to say it was really close. So Boston's 51-47, and the Twins are 51-48.
But hey, the Twins are above 500, so we're heading in the right direction.
The Twins are, in fact, 3 games above 500. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They lead the AL Central.
This is how bad the AL Central is, right? You've got every single team with a negative record on the road. You've got every single team with a negative record against teams above 500. And come playoff time, none of it's going to mean squat.
Correct. And then to round out the AL West and the AL in general is the still surprising Texas Rangers at top of that division at
57-3 in their last 10. So, I mean, they're maintaining a consistent pace, obviously have the best run differential in that division. If you look at the expected wins-loss versus their actual win-loss, they're actually, kind of underachieving based on their run differential. So they're, dominating at home. They're winning just enough games on the road, and they have above 500 record against teams with 500 record or better. So
I'm going to highlight the Los Angeles Angels here because they are in a position where they need to make a decision about a certain player that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. So, so you got the Los Angeles Angels, who are 2 games above 500. But they're 8 games back in their division. They are 5-5 in their last 5. Mike Trout's on the bench for the rest of the season with a broken.
Is he out for the season?
Yeah. Well, they said the recovery originally was like 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's changed. If it's changed, good for Mike Trout, but I don't think he's coming back this season, especially since I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So they have the tough decision of trading Shohei Ohtani, which we'll get into. But anyway, they're 26-33 against teams above 500, which doesn't bode well for a team trying to get into the playoffs. That's what I was getting at in that scenario. They're only plus 19 in the run differential area. And overall, the reality is you've removed Shohei Ohtani from this team, they're a significantly worse team. So they have some decisions to be made. Also keeping in mind that any team that gets Shohei Ohtani is likely just getting a very short-term rental character. Because he's going to be signing a huge deal in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing teams have to factor in when making deals for Ohtani is that he's a free agent in the offseason, and can you afford to sign him after you make a trade to potentially lock him down for X amount of years, whatever he's going to command in the offseason. It's going to be some unprecedented number. There's no way that you can predict what Shohei Ohtani is going to sign for. Could be $50 million, could be $60 million. Who really knows? But when you're good on both sides, both pitching and hitting, it's impossible to predict what he's going to make.
All right, so moving to the NL. The whole NL East actually is 5-5 or worse in their last 10, which is surprising, especially for these top 3 teams who had been really, really hot going into the All-Star break. The 3 teams being the Braves, the Phillies, and the Marlins.
Yeah, Braves dominating at home and on the road, both above 30 wins. I mean, that away record is surprising. They're 31-14. That is just insane. And then you've got the Phillies, who, like we've seen for years, win well or play well at home, don't play so well on the road. So, that's same story, different season. But sometimes all you have to do is play 500 ball on the road, and that'll help you get into the playoffs, which the Phillies are on pace to do. So you just, as a playoff team, would like to see them play better on the road, being Phillies fans and whatnot. But
yeah, I mean, the run differential in this division is absolutely crazy. Atlanta's got a plus 147 run differential, whereas the Phillies, who are in second place in the division in this category.
The next division is insane with it, because the only team with a positive run differential is the third place team.
And they're 5 games below 500. But yeah, Phillies with plus 6 run differential. Going into that next NL Central division there in the run differentials, you got Milwaukee leading the way, 54-44. Cincinnati right on their heels, 53-46, or a game and a half back. And then the Cubs in third. St. Louis has finally overtaken the Pirates, but 46-51 of the Cubs, and they're the only team in this division with a positive run differential, and it's plus 34 at this current time. Overall, this is another one of those divisions I feel like that is outside of the surprise of Cincinnati, is kind of sort of shaken up, extremely different than the way. I didn't expect Cincinnati to be the surprise team. That's not what I was saying. But I figured Milwaukee would be around the top. I just thought St. Louis would be at the top, and instead it's Cincinnati. And it's kind of nice to see. I think I said this last week on the show. It's nice to see new teams, threatening the bracket and the playoffs.
St. Louis is making a run for it, though, because when we first started, getting back into baseball and talking about it, they were an abysmal team. I mean, they were the last place in the division. Pittsburgh was in first at that point in time, and look how far they've fallen. So, St. Louis, if they really stand pat at the deadline, don't sell Arenado, don't sell Flaherty, don't sell Goldschmidt. I mean, maybe they make a run for it, because based on the numbers here in the peripherals, it doesn't look like anybody actually wants to run away with this division. So,
yeah, you're talking even as bad as St. Louis played to start the season, they're only 10 games back in this division.
Which Phillies fans, we know that's a lot of time, a lot of baseball left to be played.
Moving on to the NL West, Dodgers leading the way, which actually just happened in the last few days. Dodgers are 8-2 in their last 10. The Diamondbacks have really slipped up. They are 4-6 in their last 10, which is how the Dodgers caught them. And then San Francisco rounding out, breaking even with the Diamondbacks at 54-44. The Padres are the surprise here, falling down to 47-51.
Yeah, let's all ha-ha the Padres and the Mets here, because they spend a bunch of money and their teams still suck.
Yes, where are the Mets? I just scrolled right past them. The Mets are 5 games below 500.
17 and a half back in the division. I don't think that's what they had in mind in New York when they went on a spending spree.
I mean, even the second place. The Braves are far and away the best team in the NL. Let's not mix it, and they're one of the 3 best teams in baseball. The Braves are just going to run away with this division.
Yeah, the NL is significantly weaker than the AL in my opinion, but I mean, that's evident. They won 11 All-Star games in a row before the NL finally took one this year.
Fun fact, I think I might have said this last week, or maybe I said it in a text message.
Yeah, I knew where you were going. You said it in the group.
Yeah, since I believe 1983 or 1993 or something like that, Philadelphia Phillies managers are 5-1 in All-Star games. All other NL managers are abysmal at like 4-13-2 or something like that. So yeah, Philadelphia Philly managers, good job winning All-Star games.
Last topic of the show here. It's showtime. It's all about the show. It's Shohei Ohtani. Where's he going to go? I know you can't stay on the spot because we already talked about it.
No, I know what you're going to say. And no, I'm not stealing your spot. Listen, I'm a homer, and I would love for Shohei Ohtani to come to Philadelphia. Their asking price is going to be through the roof, and I just can't imagine Dave Dombrowski paying it. I know he historically has gone out and got big players, but usually when he can sign them, not as a rental.
I mean, last year he didn't even go out and get big names. He got just what the team needed, and quite frankly, the Phillies don't have the farm system to get them. They would have to sell young major league talent to go get Shohei Ohtani, and that's just not conducive to what they're trying to do right now.
Correct. So I think he goes to Cincinnati.
I've
got Cincinnati being the front runner there. They have a pretty decent farm system. They have money to play with. They've got a good young nucleus and core. They're in the playoff hunt, and what they're mainly lacking, is pitching. They're struggling in the run differentials. They're struggling with pitching. So not only do you add Shohei Ohtani as DH, but then you turn around and you have him pitch every fifth day, and he holds teams to a sub-3 ERA, right around 3 ERA, and he's a good addition to the Cincinnati Reds. And then if they do add him, I think that they are absolutely a threat in the NL.
Yeah, and if you look at it from a rental perspective, I mean, Cincinnati has 3 of the top 100 prospects in baseball. So if there's no guarantee that you can sign them, that would be your offer right there. Go get somebody that's absolutely going to help you win right now. My pick, it's the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles have 8 top 100 prospects, including the number 1 prospect in baseball, Jackson Holliday, who might not have a need for him because Gunnar Henderson, who is also very young, a 22-year-old shortstop and playing very well at Major League level, they might not have room for Jackson Holliday. And this doesn't include what's his name? I just dropped it. Pitcher, Rodriguez.
Yes, it does not include him.
Yeah. The prospect list doesn't include Gunnar Henderson or Rodriguez either. So this is a team that has an $87 million payroll. They can afford a long-term contract if they want. Now, it's not in Baltimore's nature.
Never has been.
To go out and get players like this. I mean, the last move that I can think of making of this significance would probably be Miguel Tejada.
And it's a long time.
Which
I thought they gave.
They only signed him $12 million a year. Granted, for the market, that was a lot of money, but they didn't trade for him either. So I think if Baltimore were to sell the prospects, they obviously have the prospects. Grayson Rodriguez is who I was
Grayson, Grayson. Sorry.
They have the prospects. They have the payroll to pay him. They have a young team that's going to be. I mean, they're obviously pushing for playoff position now. This could be, an interesting move. I think Baltimore is really a team to keep an eye out on here. It'd be unprecedented for them, but if they're serious about winning, it could be a move that they should make.
Listen, I thought they gave when they signed Kyle Gibson to a 1-year, $10 million contract. I thought to myself, that's a lot of money for the Orioles because it historically has been a lot of money for the Orioles. So the fact, just me wrapping my head around the fact that they're willing to pay $50 million, $60 million to Shohei Ohtani a season is difficult. However, you're 100% right. They may not have a place for
Jackson
Holliday, and they might see that and realize, okay, well, we can get something for him now. We're first in our division right now. Shohei Ohtani is another great arm at the start of the rotation. He's a great DH to throw in the middle of our lineup, and we already know that he hits AL pitching really well.
Yeah, so the Orioles have the number 1, the number 12, the number 30 prospects. So they have 3 in the top 30, which, if mathematically speaking, if everything were in a perfect world, each team would only have 1 in the top 30. So they have 3. You're looking at middle infielder, you're looking at outfielder, and you're looking at another infielder. So it's perfect for them. It clears up a little bit of space in their farm system. Not that you can ever have too crowded of a farm system, but Ohtani can help you now, whereas the prospects are not. So
before we get off, I do want to discuss what package could be put together for the Phillies to get anybody.
Cody Bellinger.
That would not cost a lot.
Cody Bellinger. He's on a 1-year deal with Chicago, having a renaissance year. Go ahead and get him. The only sucky thing is he's a left-handed bat.
We don't really need another left-handed bat. Now,
he plays first base and outfield.
So another name that's been thrown around, and I think you asked me about this last week, is Juan Soto. I don't want Juan Soto. Not that I don't think he's a generational talent, because I'm sure that he is. And we've seen him. He's tortured the Phillies a couple of times here in the past. That's exactly right. Same thing with Shohei Ohtani. What it's going to cost to just get him here, regardless of the money, what it's going to cost just to get him in the building is going to be too much. I've seen packages put together where Bohm or Stott are included, and I'm just not watching that go down. I'm just not. Because in addition to those two players, they want Andrew Painter and they want Mick Abel and they want,
I would be willing to part with one of Abel or McGarry if we got some sort of high level MLB talent in return. One of them.
Yeah, those two I'd be happy to part with. I mean, even Painter, it's not ideal for him to be coming up and then already have a UCL injury, right? That's not ideal. We saw what happened with Jacob deGrom, who throws really hard and had a UCL originally. He's never been the same. He just hasn't. He gets injured every single season. I'm not saying Andrew Painter is going to have that luck, but it's a possibility. It's got to be thought about. It's got to be on the table and questioned. So I wouldn't say that Painter's off the table either, but I can't imagine lumping them all together and then throwing hypothetically a Stott or a Bone or a
No, there's not going to be
Rojas in there. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
There's not going to be any young MLB talent shipped out in a trade unless we're getting somebody who is an elite level talent reciprocating that position. You're not getting rid of Bryson Stott or Alec Bohm unless you get an elite level second or third base. There's no elite level second baseman on the market. So
Correct.
Stott is here to stay.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad we're in agreement there.
But yeah, so I guess we're going to have to make a call to the bullpen here because showtime's over.
Yeah, we actually got through those Immaculate Grids a little bit quicker than we thought we were going to,
Well, we also
especially
sucked
since we
on them.
sucked at them. Yeah, so that was the comment that I pulled up there. Ken Brandt saying, watching you struggle is fun because we do the Immaculate Grid like separately every day, and we text him and ask if he's gotten through it, and he's usually not nearly as good as us. So watching us struggle probably wasn't good for him.
We're letting the pressure of the camera crack, damn it.
Yeah, it's like, as soon as we get off, we're going to know all these answers too. That's the worst part. We know it too. But even though, thanks for joining us here on BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a good night.